Good evening, Honors Algebra. This is Mr. Lawrence with your turkey break lesson. I'm going to keep it brief. It's on direct variation. It's not very long, but I need you to look it over before you come in Monday. All right, I hope you eat lots of turkey, and my favorite thing is the leftover turkey sandwiches the day after Thanksgiving. Put them in the microwave, little cheese on white bread with a little mayo. Very yummy. Hey, I do want to say something. Some of you did such a great job on your test scores. If you're listening to this, your scores have already been recorded. Now, there were some of you, maybe 4 or 5, that just had a horrific time. I think most of you were in the same class. You need to rewatch some of the videos over break, okay? Do that. I hope you didn't leave this video for Sunday night. Excuse me. Um, Rewatch some of the videos, especially the review videos and things like that. I just want to say really quick, a lot of you were doing such great work and then you made no sense at all. And I'm only going to talk about this really quick, but those of you that had trouble, you're going to be coming in and seeing me a couple times next week and trying to improve your grade. If you choose to not come in and see me, well then I guess you're telling me you're satisfied with your grade. But don't beat yourself up. I'm going to help you. I'm not sure what happened. A lot of you had equations like this, and you did something like this where you kind of said, hey, I'm going to let x be 0, and when x is 0, y is going to be 2. And then you said, hey, I'll let y be 0, okay, and then x will be 4. And you did this great work, but then for some reason, you decided to morph these two different points. These are different points. This is a y-intercept. How do I know? Because the x is 0. This is the y-intercept. Okay, that point is right here, 0, 1, 2. It's right there. And this is a different point as well. This is the x-intercept. How do I know? Because the y value is 0, and that point is sitting 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Okay? Now, for some reason, many of you, even some of you that had good scores, you did this. You went, oh, I need the 0.42. Absolutely not. The 0.42 is not on this line. I guarantee it. Watch. First of all, let me draw this line. Okay, down 2 over 4, down 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. There's that line. Now let me find the point. Oh, and put an arrowhead on there. Now let me find the point 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That line doesn't go through that point. It shouldn't go through that point. If I put 4 in my t-table for x, I don't get 2 out. I get 0 out. So I'm not sure why that was happening. That happened with a lot of people. But if you got below a C on the test, I am strongly requiring you to go ahead and watch some of those videos, and then you're going to be coming in to see me a lot, whether it's after school or at lunch next week, and I'm going to give you a chance to earn some of those points back. Okay, not a whole lot. You're not going to jump up to an A, but you have a chance to earn some of those points back. Okay, enough about that. Let's get on to direct variation. There we go, and let's get rid of him. I don't want you anymore. Cut, you're gone. I'll throw him away. Oh no, what just happened there? Let's bounce back, and I will throw him away. Ooh, that was pretty cool, and I'll get rid of those. Okay, direct variation. We're talking about two variables. We're talking about x, and we're talking about y. And the key for direct variation, that is x increases, y also increases. For example, the more hours I work, the more money I make. In other words, if you had a job making $10 an hour, if you worked 1 hour, you get $10. If you work 2 hours, you'd get $20, 3 hours, $30, etc., etc., etc. That is direct variation. We say that x and y vary directly because they're both increasing. Okay? Can you think of some other examples of things that increase as, as one goes up, the other goes up? Let me see here. What about renting some videos? If a number of videos you rent. What is that word? Excuse me. The number of videos you rent, as that increases, the money you pay increases as well. That's direct variation. Okay, well, let's look at a simple example here. Let's say that Josh works 12 hours. He makes, let's keep it real simple. Let's make it $48. Okay, we're going to figure out how much money he makes per hour. Now, I know a lot of you have already said, oh, Mr. Lawrence, I know the answer is 4. But there are going to be problems where you can't do them in your head. So I'm going to show you a little formula, and this formula should look super duper familiar. The formula for direct variation, this is the direct variation formula. Did I mention that this is the direct variation formula? This is the formula for direct variation. I'll say it again because I know how often middle schoolers need me to repeat things. This is the direct variation equation. Okay, so the direct variation equation, y equals kx. That should look an awful lot like an equation we just got done using, like y equals mx plus b, except in this case, the b is 0, right? There is nothing added on to the end. There's a 0 there. Think about it. If Josh works 0 hours, how much money does he make? 0. So we don't bother to put the b on in direct variation cases. Now, k is called the constant of variation, but you know it as the slope. This is the constant of variation. This is the constant of variation. It's the slope. That's what it really is. It's the slope. So I'm going to ask you this question. I got to decide if my hours or my money is my x variable. Does the money I make depend on how long I work? Or does the time I work depend on the money I make? Think about that for a minute. The longer I work, the more money I make. It sounds like the money depends on the time. So that means the time is my x variable and the money is my y. Remember, y is the dependent variable. It depends on what x is. If x goes up, y is going to go up. Well, here's how I figure out how much he makes. And again, I know some of you know how to do this without doing all this formula, but there are going to be times when you're not going to be able to do it in your head. That slope or constant of variation won't be a pretty number. I'm going to put 48 in y's place. I'm going to let it equal k times the 12. I'm going to get the k alone. This is multiplication, so I will divide. By the way, there were some of you on the test. You were subtracting to undo multiplication. Come on, guys, you know better than that. This is honors algebra. All right, the 12s cancel, and I'm left with k equal to 4. My constant of variation is 4. I could write an equation that would tell me how much money he makes if I know how many hours he works. Y equals 4x would be my equation. All right, that is one way to do direct variation. Now, another way would be a sample problem like this. If they tell you that x and y vary directly, they have to tell you that. And they say x equals 5 when y equals 12. Find x when y equals 16. Okay, now this is a two-step problem. The first thing I'm going to do is just like the last example. I'm going to use y equals kx, and I'm going to fill in. I know y is 12. I know no k, that's what I'm trying to find. I'm going to fill in 5. All right, so k is going to equal 12/5. How did I get that? I divided each side by 5. Now, if you want to convert that into a mixed number or a decimal, you can. It's, you know, it's all the same thing. Let me see. 5 is going to go in there. 2 with 2 left over. Oops, not 5 left over, Mr. Lawrence. 2 left over. So it'll be 2 and 2/5. Of course, that's the same as 2.4, or 2 and 4/10, better said. All right, that's the first part. Now I'm going to switch over to blue. Now, I'm going to take this k, and I'm going to take this y, and I'm going to use that equation again, y equals kx. I'm going to fill in the k that I found. I'm going to fill in the y that I found, and I'm going to solve for x because I need to find x when y is 16. So I'm going to put 16 in for y. I'm going to put 12/5 in for x, in for k, and then I'm going to solve for x. Now this is going to give some of you the heebie-jeebies because I'm going to divide by a fraction, but by now you should be getting better at this. Those will cancel. Now I have 16 divided by 12/5. That is the same as 16 over 1 times 5/12, or copy times slip was a shortcut. The long way of saying it is dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. I'm dividing by 12/5, so I'll multiply by 5/12, not the negative reciprocal, just the reciprocal. Now, I'm going to look here and here. I know that 4 goes into both 12 and 16. So I'm going to divide 16 by 4 and get 4. 12 divided by 4 will give me 3. Nothing else will cancel out, so I will multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3. And that number doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It is a good number, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a mixed number now. 3 goes into 26 times. I'll be 2 short of 20, so it'll be 6 and 2/3. Okay, so that means way up here that x equals 6 and 2/3. All right, I'll do one more example. Let's say that x and y vary directly. Okay, x equals 10 when y equals 4. This time we'll find y when x equals 3. Okay, well, let's set it up. Again, 2 problems. The first one is going to use the x and the y that we know the values of, and I'll use it in my equation y equals kx. I'll fill in 4 for y, k I'm looking for, and 10. All right, I'll divide each side by 10. Okay, and I'll get k will equal to 2/5 y because I simplified it, or you could give me 4/10 that way. Either one of those answers is good. I will come over here and do part 2. And again, I will use the same equation, except this time I will use k and I will use 3. I'm looking for y. Y is going to equal 2/5. In this case, it might be easier to go with the decimal, so maybe I will go with 4/10 here. Okay, there are situations where decimals are just smarter. I think this is one of them. X is 3, so I plug it in there. Now, 3 times 4 is 12, but 3 times 4/10, so the answer must be 1.2. And there we go. So I know that y is 1.2 when x is 3. Okay, so we've looked at 3 examples. We'll get more look at Monday. Again, if you're a person that didn't do so well on the test, please, please, please go back and watch some of the videos. Practice your basic graphing stuff, counting slope. I mean, some of the things you guys were doing. I had one person, I think he just panicked because I bet if I gave him an oral exam, they would get an A on it or at least a B. So please rewatch some of those videos and come in Monday ready to learn. All right, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Go Buckeyes. And hopefully we'll be bringing home a victory, and Mr. Belkoffer will have to wear some scarlet and gray on Monday. Hopefully I won't be wearing blue and urine. All right, this is Mr. Lawrence signing off.